Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the mountains of Thailand, there lived a young girl named Nok. She was a quiet and introspective child, with a heart full of love and a mind full of questions. She lived with her parents in a modest house on the outskirts of the village, where they made a living growing rice and vegetables. One day, while wandering through the fields, Nok stumbled upon a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. She watched in fascination as the butterfly wriggled and squirmed, trying to free itself from the tight confines of the cocoon. After a few moments, she grew impatient and decided to help the butterfly by gently tearing the cocoon open with her fingers. To her surprise, the butterfly emerged weak and fragile, with crumpled wings that could not support its weight. It fluttered feebly in the air before falling to the ground, where it lay still and lifeless. Nok was heartbroken at what she had done, and she wept bitterly for the poor butterfly. As she lay sobbing on the ground, a wise old monk appeared before her. He was dressed in simple robes and carried a staff made of bamboo, and his eyes shone with a gentle compassion that Nok had never seen before. "Why do you weep, little one?" he asked softly. I killed the butterfly," Nok replied, her voice choked with tears. "I tried to help it, but I only made things worse." The monk knelt down beside her and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Do not grieve, my child. The butterfly's fate was not in your hands. You only interfered with the natural order of things." Nok looked up at him, her eyes wide with wonder. "But how can that be? I only wanted to help." The monk smiled gently. "You see, my child, the struggle to emerge from the cocoon is what gives the butterfly the strength to fly. By tearing the cocoon open, you deprived the butterfly of that struggle and weakened its wings. It was not your intention, but your action had unintended consequences." Nok looked down at the lifeless butterfly and then back up at the monk. "But what can I do now? Is there any way to make it right?" The monk nodded. "There is a way, but it will require patience and dedication. You must care for the butterfly and help it regain its strength, and then release it back into the wild so it can fulfill its purpose." Nok nodded solemnly. "I will do whatever it takes. I don't want to make the same mistake again." And so, Nok took the butterfly into her care. She built a small cage for it out of bamboo and leaves, and fed it a steady diet of nectar and fruit. Every day, she would watch the butterfly carefully, observing its progress and making sure it was growing stronger. As time passed, the butterfly began to improve. Its wings grew stronger, and it could fly short distances around the cage. Nok was delighted to see the progress, and she began to dream of the day when she could release the butterfly back into the wild. But as the days turned into weeks, Nok began to grow impatient. She longed to be free of the responsibility of caring for the butterfly and return to her own life. She started to neglect the butterfly, forgetting to feed it or clean its cage. One day when she came to check on the butterfly, she found it lying on its side, weak and motionless. She realized with horror that she had let her impatience get the better of her, and that she had failed to live up to the promise she had made to